Hey, what is up, guys? So, if you couldn't tell by the video, we're doing the last few cards that we didn't get to see in any of the leaks or spoilers. And we're gonna start with Toxian because it's the one cost Celestial we haven't seen yet. So, when Toxian receives one or more Thunder, your opponents must expend one. It's a 4/2 in Thunder. So this kind of adds to the Thunder Fire expend strategy, a little bit of burn. 4/2 is a good stat line. Again, that means only like what Sorlet, Necruff, um, Idolo. I never can remember Idolo's actual name, and like a galaxy can get past it without dying. And it burns your opponent right away for one. I mean, you can combo this with like Circle the Sky, so that Circle the Sky gets you some more forced expending of your opponent. It's nice because it just burns your opponent right away, so it's not waiting a turn. It's not like Necrof where you have to actually deal combat damage or anything like that. I think it's a solid card. We don't have any Thunder 5 attackers, though. And I don't think we have any Thunder 5 defenses. But Thunder does have some very, very strong abilities, and I think this ability is very strong. Because if you can keep this on the board for turn, clear your opponent out with like a boom bat the next turn, maybe do some Circle of Skying, force your opponent to discard some more spirits, it gets quite, I think, oppressive after a turn or two if it stays on board. And then we have its big brother, Galvenom, a 2-cost 6/2 in Thunder, and you can expend 3 Thunder in order to destroy 2 cards in the field. So this is like almost like you get an Imperial on a budget. So Imperial and this card generally will come out on the same turn, but this card kind of lets you destroy 2 for 3, so it's a worse rate than Imperial because I'll have another video going over a bunch of card changes later on. But Imperial now is a 1 expend to destroy 1 card. Galvanum's 3 costs to destroy 2 cards. It's more expensive to use its ability, but it's faster in a sense of it destroys more cards. I think Galvanum is a good kind of, not really a sweeper, but a good board clear in a sense. In like an aggro Thunder deck, kind of like how Toxian fits that same role, where Galvanum's going to drop down, you're going to expend 3 because you're playing aggro, you don't care about your life as much. Destroy problem cards, try to hit directly for 2. Kind of how Kid Leo works right now, but on 2 and a little bit more dangerous because you don't need to have the Nexus going on. You can just say, I expend 3, destroy 2 things, which will probably get you roughly 2 to 3 spirits in damage to your opponent that they lose on the board. So it works out. I think Galvan is really strong. Next guy, Zephyrog. This is Tadpuff's Ascension line. It is a 4/3 for 2, which is a terrible stat line, but its ability makes up for it, I think. So when it attacks, it can attack a spirit deck directly. When it deals damage to an opponent, you can look at that opponent's hand and make them discard one of those cards. Not exactly what it reads, but I think that reads a little bit clear that way. So basically, you hit them directly for 2, maybe 3, and you get to look at their hand and take their most problematic card right out. I think this card, along with Barabog, Krakatuga, makes a really interesting Tadpuff Water plus X burn strategy, where you basically just run 3 Tadpuffs and like maybe 2 Zephyrogs, 2 Krakatuga, 2 Barabogs, and the goal is to get like some of those to stick and just protect them and just burn directly. So Zephyrog attacks directly, burns, and does some control. Barabog sits in defense and burns your opponent down. Krakatuga sits in defense, burns your opponent down. Zephyrog, you just gotta protect it, and if it hits twice, that's game changing. Like once is really good. You hit someone twice with this card, and it's just game changing. They just lost 2 cards, took 4 damage, maybe more. That frog I think is really strong, but only fits in some pretty specific decks since it's a water, wind, aggro-y thing. It's hard to say it's aggressive. It's hard to say it's control because it does both. But at 4/3, you need to protect it. It's going to die to everything. But if you get it out on turn 1, or your turn 1 if you're going second with the Tadpuff, it'll do a lot of work, I think. It almost will always at least 1 for 1, if not 2 for 1. So I think it's a very strong card. And the last card that we haven't seen at all in any form is Helios's Chariot Ride. The 2-cost counter rune. You can only cast it during the draw phase, and opponents cannot cast runes this turn. That means if it's your turn, you activate on your draw step if it's already been set for a turn or 2, and they won't be able to activate any counter runes on your turn. If you set it on your turn past your opponent and activate it on their draw step, they can't play any runes on their turn. I think this card is like, it's a really high skill ceiling card where it's like, if you know when to use it, it's gonna stop your opponents in their tracks. Like if Dratai and Lotagon decks become a thing, you just say, okay, you can't play Ambrosius, you can't do your combos. If you need to get like a big thing out real quickly, let's say you want your Majesty to really stick, you play this, stick your Majesty so they can't counter it or anything, do some swinging with it, and it's on the board, it's there now. This card's really good because it's just, it says everything can't be activated. It's not just like, you're not just thunderstorming one thing. Uh the downside of this card is you could use it and your opponent literally could not have a single rune in their hand and you wouldn't know it, or their face downs are actually just like just a bunch of bluffs that aren't gonna do anything anyway. But this card I think is really strong. And I think it's gonna do a lot of, I think it's gonna see a lot of play, especially in sideboards. This is like you're going up against a counter control deck, sideboard every step of the way. Play this card, three of in your sideboard, go for it. I think it might be one or two of in most main deck, just because of how strong runes are. Again, it's just on evoke runes, counter runes, divine runes, stadium. Like they can't play anything except Elestrals on that turn. It's a huge effect. Dan originally showed this card off a while ago in Discord at a one cost, and we are like, no, this is way too strong at one cost. At two cost, I think it's a little bit more fair. It's still very strong, and we'll see what kind of degeneracy goes up with it. But yeah, that's it for all the new cards. If you guys get a chance to look at all these cards, there are so many card changes. I will go over cards. Card changes probably. Might not even do a video. I might just do a live stream and just record it and send it out and let you guys all see what I think about all the card changes. But that's our spoilers. I hope you guys enjoyed. I appreciate any likes, subscribes you guys have given me. I've grown a lot in the past couple months. Like 130 subscribers is a lot for me. I'm just a dude talking to the void. I appreciate all of you. If you continue to support me, go support all the other creators too. I appreciate that. And you guys have a great night. Go check out the website. There's so much there. Have a great one. Peace.